Okay, so we're going to take a look at two Optoma projectors that are sold pretty much on the same Amazon page. One is the 700 lumen ML750 projector, and the other is the 1000 lumen ML1000P projector. Now, it's odd that these are both listed as portable presentation projectors in the same context in that micro pico projector class, because there seems to be an obvious size difference between the two, but I'm not really convinced that there is. So at first look, when you look at the specs on these projectors, one is 700 lumens, one's 1000 lumens, but the real difference is if you look at the outside dimensions. One of them comes in at about 4 inches by 4 inches, the other comes in at about 8.5 by 11, close to the size of a sheet of paper, which sounds pretty dramatic, and it really is. And we'll just, for comparison, say, hey, this is the comparison that everybody envisions when they look at the specs on these projectors. And, everybody assumes that, hey, this other projector for another 200 lumens is, 4 times the size of, the 700 lumen projector. And it almost seems like a no-brainer to go with the 700. But what the specs don't tell you is that this is really not a fair comparison of size between these two projectors. The ML750 comes in a carrying case, as does the ML1000, and the carrying cases are actually not disproportionately larger in size. It's a little bit larger. It's more like a laptop sleeve, whereas this is more of a custom case. But the biggest difference is in all the accessories. The ML750 really includes nothing in the way of connectivity on board. It doesn't have an internal power supply. It doesn't have analog audio output if you don't want to use anything other than the little built-in half-inch speaker here, if you're using the internal media player. So let's look at what you actually need to get this projector going. So you need the projector itself, an SD memory card to hold your media at the minimum, if not a memory stick. You need the 60-watt, 19-volt power supply with the long bundled cord here. Okay, now as far as getting analog audio out of this, if you wanted to go to an external speaker or a Bluetooth speaker, anything like that, you have to have this cable. Also, you need this for VGA input as well, because in order to save space, they didn't put any of these jacks on the back of the projector. So your 3.5 millimeter analog audio out requires you to carry this cable. So we plug that in. And that's pretty much what you need: a power cord, an analog audio out cord, and a projector. And then from there you can just plug in an external speaker or headphones, and you have everything you need to watch a movie. Now, as far as the other projector goes, let's take a quick look at the ML1000 here. The ML1000, unlike the 750, has all the connectivity built into the projector. You have an internal power supply that needs nothing more than a 120-volt power cord. It has the VGA input. It has analog 3.5 millimeter audio ins, audio outs, and basically you don't need any external dongles or cables. So the only thing it really requires is a 110-volt power cord to plug into the projector. So now, the size comparison that you don't realize is this one. Here, basically, you see the ready-to-run configurations of both these projectors are essentially the same size. The other big difference between these two projectors, and if I were to turn them on I could show it to you, is really the larger cabinet size of the ML1000 is taken up mostly by heat sinks, which means that the fans have to run a lot less. It has a much larger thermal pipe cooling system in it. You can probably see it through the vents there. There's a heat pipe as well as a very large finned heatsink, which overall makes the fans have to work a lot less in it and keeps the projector much more stable from a thermal standpoint. The little ML750 projector, and if you read enough of the Amazon reviews, you'll see everybody has the same complaint about it, is that it does change stability very much with heat. When you first power up the projector, if you were to focus the lens on it, and you were to wait a period of about 5 minutes, your image would be out of focus. Because as the projector heats up, components in there actually expand and change the optical characteristics of the projector. In the case of the ML1000, it's much more stable due to the size of it. and you don't see this shift in focus from when the projector actually warms up to when it's cold. As far as the optics go, maybe in another video I'll turn them on and actually compare them side by side and show you the brightness difference. But it's not night and day. To me, the cost difference of the projectors is not really so much in the brightness. You'll get a little bit more out of it. You'd probably do better just putting a high gain screen on it than anything else. Both these projectors are similar in brightness. The ML1000 is pretty much better across the board in terms of its design. It really addresses a lot of the issues with the smaller ML750, and the software is done better in the internal media player, as well as the audio output quality is higher on it. It's pretty much better across the board. I hope this helps you decide between the two. If you have any questions, just post them on Amazon, and I'll do my best to answer them.